Hello, air signs. I've been guided this week to do some past life readings. So this is just going to be a past life reading for all the air signs, Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. Okay. So if your sun, moon, or ascendant, or Venus is in any of those signs, this reading may resonate, or parts of it may resonate. And it's going to be general, so please take the bits that resonate and leave the rest. And yeah, let's welcome in the high frequency archangels, Ascended Masters, light beings, spirit guides, and of course our higher selves to assist with this reading today. I'm just going to see what's going to jump out for the centre. Wow, Queen of Swords. So a past life, it's looking here, air signs, like you were a type of person that was decisive, firm but fair, but also loving. Okay, also caring. And here we have the Knight of Wands. Okay, so I'm just going to pull the other cards around this and see. You also have the Nine of Swords. So this could have been a stressful past life, this particular one. There may have been constant challenges and maybe hardships. And, you know, if you were of the ruling class or of royalty, you know, maybe you had to, you know, obviously recruit people to take care of things, but maybe there was, you know, as historically there were sort of lots of wars and disputes and arguments that went on over territory and land and things like that. It's looking like you did achieve a certain amount of success in that life though. And here we have the King of Wands. Also looking like, yeah, maybe you were, you know, of the ruling class. Okay. Let's see what unfolds here. We have the Seven of Pentacles. And I'm just going to continue. Here we have the Justice, which is interesting. The King of Pentacles, a very abundant energy around you at the moment. Death or rebirth or transformation. And the World. Okay. Now, sometimes our past lives can be relevant for our current life, okay? If we are still dealing with some residual energies from that period. We also have the Hangman on the bottom of the deck here. Okay, which is really cool. Now, also just lately I've been guided to just shuffle this and just grab a few more. And here we have none other than the Four of Pentacles, Knight of Cups. This is just some extra kind of spirit guidance here as well. Okay, almost. So we're sort of looking here for, you know, karmically, Three of Cups. Okay, that's nice. Got the Three of Cups as well. Six of Wands underneath as well. Yeah, so there are things that could be carrying through into this life. And I'm just going to pause to just absorb all these energies and see what we come up with. I'll be back in one moment or a millisecond for you. Okay, air signs. So this past life here, what I've got from this energy also is that I think this was, I think you were perhaps in the ruling class and you, in somewhere in some country, you know, it could have been tribal, it could have been, you know, Celtic times, it could have been, you know, eras, kings and queens, things like that. But it's looking here like you prefer to be able to make decisions, like to take your time to make decisions, but and to do that in a just and compassionate way. But I have a feeling here that there were decisions that you had to make really very quickly, and that that they were difficult decisions to make at times, okay, hence the stress, because I think you had a lot of responsibility and you had to make a lot of difficult decisions, okay, so there might have been a lot of things hanging in the balance, and, you know, maybe, you know, the class or the community or that ruling class there, maybe you suffered great losses as well as a result of some of the decisions you had to make, which were part and parcel of those times, okay. So at this point in time, I mean, here, sort of this was the future that you were reflecting on, you know, is it all worth it, you know? And I think maybe there's a decision at the moment that you're looking to make that you are hesitant to make, but it could be because of this previous life where you had to make decisions that maybe had dire consequences. So there could be some inner resistance to you making those decisions. However, the energy around you at the moment is abundance. And that this energy of difficulty and survival, which is I think this past life is representing, is sort of going to be transmuted. It's sort of shifting and changing, and you're moving into the overall energy, which is enlightenment here. So it's about really moving into your personal truth, which is your current energy. And I guess the letting go of some concerns and, you know, transmute. We might actually clarify this card, okay, in a second. Actually, let's do that right now. Because even despite, you know, maybe there's difficult decisions and maybe there were some losses there, that you did, you know, you did achieve whatever it was you wanted to achieve. And maybe you sort of created, you know, you created a reasonable living, a reasonable way of being, way of life for yourself here. And I think maybe this was, you know, your energy back then. Maybe you worked your way up. You know, you may or may not have become a king, because usually that may have been to do with bloodlines and, you know, all that type of thing. And yeah, but maybe you sort of rose above this difficult, or maybe you got out of that and you didn't have to make all those difficult decisions anymore. Let's just clarify that 9 of Swords there, because that's I mean, I think there was a lot of responsibility, a lot of weight on your shoulders, and maybe you're feeling that at the moment as well. Wow, we have the Queen of Swords. So maybe this is about showing some love and compassion towards yourself, you know, making some decisions with regard to your own personal well-being. I have a feeling that, you know, some of these historically, that when it came to one's own personal things, that, you know, sometimes the ruling class or whatever, like, they were going 24/7, okay, and they pretty much had to, like, suck it up when it came to taking time off and just relaxing. Like, they were probably constantly under the pump, constant stress, especially in that survival mode when there was a lot of wars and things going on, okay. And that's probably happening around the world now, okay, in some areas. But this is about applying some compassionate love and understanding to yourself specifically, not to your job role, not to your job description, not to those other people that you're responsible for. It's about doing that for yourself. Yeah, and this is going to take some strength. So it's going to take your willpower, it's going to take your ability to set some boundaries. Yeah. And it's about you know, aligning with your personal truth, getting some balance. This is the Libra card. Okay, so if you are a Libra, this reading may be resonating with you. And yeah, we also have Gemini here. This is the Gemini energy, Queen of Swords, which is doubled up twice here. Okay, yeah, well, that's jumped out for us. The Page of Cups. Yeah, that's about, you know, bringing love to the situation. Okay. Let's clarify the center here. That's also about, you know, if you're looking at doing some self-care, it's about looking at your creativity, your spirituality, your, you know, your capacity to give and receive love and unconditional love, right? Okay, connecting to spirit as well. Let's just looking at the 7 of Swords there, and this is the 2 of Wands. Sorry, the 3 of Wands. Wow, we're doubling up on the energies here. We also have the 3 of Wands. So this is about acknowledging how far you've come and really honouring that. Okay. But asking yourself, what is the next passionate step? And this can be, you know, a pause before a decision, a pause before taking the next step. Okay, and that's what I used. This was to actually clarify the Seven of Pentacles, which could be what you're doing at the moment, is you're sort of consolidating. And I think maybe in this past life you may have gone through a consolidation phase. Certainly if you were in a position of power here, you know, you might have had a big picture view, and maybe you were just observing human nature and generally, and just sort of being really reflective and sort of having a spiritual approach to that as well. But you now, you know, you're moving on from that king energy and you're becoming even more enlightened here. Okay, mind, body, spirit. And finding a really nice balance of freedom and responsibility. Because I think in the past there was so much responsibility and you had to make so many difficult decisions here that, you know, it was not great. Okay, but in this day and age, I mean, you know, you have the ability to create more balance now. You know, there is transformation and rebirth happening. Okay, so this is a rebirth and releasing of those old energies of difficulty, of having to focus on survival. And yeah, I mean, there are still difficult decisions that you may need to make, but I have a feeling that there's not so much at stake as what there was in this other life. But it could be that if you have difficulty making decisions, it could be because of that life back then. And yeah, let's clarify the Death card. You have the Six of Wands here as well, which was another overall energy. So, you know, success. Okay. Success is coming in here. Okay, that one flew out there. Five of Pentacles. Yeah, this energy of perception of lack. Okay, this can be a focus on survival card, and it can also be a tendency to maybe focus on what it is that you don't have. So maybe in this other life you were very focused on the fact that there was you know, maybe there was wars, there were losses, there were things that your people or that you were suffering. Okay, and so, and it could have been fairly extreme, and maybe you had a few lives like that. Okay, so, but this is going to be transformed. Okay, this is what our, you know, this energy here is a balance of responsibility and freedom. So it's about really your spiritual sovereignty. And we have these cards are very sovereign. Okay, King of Pentacles, abundance, groundedness. Okay, he actually has no survival worries, pretty much. Okay, he has abundance, he has good health, you know, wealth, and yeah, practical sort of supports as well, that he's probably had a big part in creating. Okay, so this is also very creative energy. Yeah, creating that balance for yourself. You know, I think that's what this energy is moving. The current energies are assisting you to move towards that air signs, okay? But also, yeah, that groundedness I think is important. So we're moving away from focusing on survival to thriving. Okay, it's not surviving, we're thriving now. And this was sort of like the spirit advice, those extra 3 cards, which was, you know, maybe you're sitting on a decision at the moment, maybe you feel a little like, you know, you can't move left or right, or you feel like you need to take care of responsibilities primarily and solely, and that, you know, you don't have any extra energy, time or attention to give to yourself. But really what this is sort of saying, Spirit, either side here, we have, you know, there's some good news, good things coming in towards you here, and to remember to allow yourself to move into joy. Okay, this is what the guidance was here. The suggestion was that in this past life, the situations and the circumstances were such that it was very difficult for you to move into that energy, to allow yourself to move into it because of the externals going on. We've said it lots of times now in this reading, there's a lot of responsibilities, a lot of hard decisions. But, you know, now things are lighter, okay? You've evolved, you're becoming more enlightened, more whole, more balanced. Okay, air signs. You're grounding. This can be talking about alignment too. So, you know, grounding with nature, focusing on being present, You know, you've got your heart chakra and your crown chakra here. So just really coming into alignment, kind of a little bit like the Hangman here, which I have just held up a second ago, but there we go. Yeah. So I think this reading does actually make sense. Wow, underneath we have the Emperor. So yeah, I think you're going to be, as you move into this thriving energy and giving yourself permission to move into joy, perhaps on a more regular basis, you are going to realize that your frequency is going to rise, and that you're going to feel then more like you're one of these light workers or starseeds that are helping to co-create the new earth here. This dragon energy is like overseeing everything, but I really like this image because it's sort of just going, it's like the Emperor has the power to create a new structure. Okay, it's actually quite creative in its higher frequency version. Okay, there are, you know, in the reverse, this can be, you know, too much structure, too much, you know, dogmatic thinking, which could have been what you were involved in before. Maybe things, there were too many rules. There wasn't time to be creative, maybe. It was all about survival, okay? And now it's like this other version of the Emperor where you're like helping to create the new earth. So, I mean, that could be a helpful visual for you there. Let's grab a Sacred Forest Oracle as well. Okay, that one just flew out. Bear Spirit Healing. Yeah, so there could be some ancestral healing, some past life healing, but I have a feeling it's to do with releasing. It's almost these heavy, dense energies of having to deal with holding some of the losses. Like maybe there was loss of life and you felt responsible for that. Okay, it's about releasing that. Because, you know, it was an experience that your soul put its hand up to have as part of your soul evolution. The healing is our ability to see that. So in your enlightenment, in your meditations, maybe you can visualize some of these things that went on in this past life, and maybe just bring some love to it, as we're doing here. You know, bring some love to it. Actually, this card can also be talking about meditation. Any of the fours is very static. So during your meditations, bring some love to that life, past life, and to forgive yourself, have compassion for yourself, and allow yourself to let that go now. Okay. Let's see what else is going to jump out here. I mean, some of these, the things that we've been through, past lives, can be very traumatic, okay? And yeah, we can tend to hang on to things. And here we have success. Yeah, that was the Six of Wands here as well. Okay, you're going to have success in releasing this dense, heavy energy, so you're going to feel lighter. This is really light. Okay, it's like you are free moving in space, but you have, these are the fixed signs, so you're still grounded here as well, which is really nice. Off the top, let me grab one more. Yeah, beautiful. Joy. I've actually got chills now. This is your Three of Cups. Okay, and we're going to put this this is like love and joy here, okay? So this is about you becoming lighter, as light as this hummingbird here, hummingbird spirit. Really beautiful image. Yeah, so between this, you know, this dragon and this hummingbird here, we are becoming more buoyant, we're becoming more light, we're stepping into a power and releasing things that no longer are needed, basically, for us to move forward. So yeah, I hope that's been helpful, air signs. Look forward to our next reading. In the meantime, have a great day, a fantastic week. I'll see you again soon.